Alrighty folks, we are here with the new Warbond pass out, this cutting edge premium Warbond. We've unlocked all the primaries and we've got some games in with all of them, we've got some clips with all of them. And we're going to go in here, talk about our first impressions and give you a tip for using each of these new 3 primaries. And we're going to talk about if they're really worth unlocking or not. So we're going to go in order of the pass. So you see here page 1, page 2, page 3. On page 1 we have the new LAS-16 Sickle, which is like an energy assault rifle. Pretty cool. It's got the little cooling pack in it instead of a magazine. So we'll talk about that. We've got the Punisher Plasma. So this is like the Punisher shotgun that you feed the shells into the tube, but it fires these little plasma projectile grenade type things. So we're going to take a look at that. And then finally on page 3 we have got the AR12 Blitzer. This thing's absolutely crazy. It's kind of like a mini arc thrower, the tertiary weapon. It's kind of like a mini version of one of those, and it has unlimited ammo just like that. So we're going to go through each of these 3, give you our impressions, and at least one tip for getting the most out of each one of them. Let's dive right into it. First on the pass, on page 1, the LAS-16 Sickle. This weapon is truly an improvement from most of the base game weapons. You see on paper we've got 55 damage per shot with a 750 fire rate. That's more DPS right off the bat than either of the starting AR or the Liberator Penetrator, both with less fire rate, comparable damage per shot for sure still. But the main thing about this is the 2 recoil. This thing is just dead accurate, no recoil. You can put on the scope, you can change it between 25, 50, and 100, and you can easily use this thing with the 100 scope, the 100 meter setting on the reticle, because just dead accurate at long range. Probably the most comfortable I've been, especially with a fully automatic weapon at long range in this game. You really have the option, and it doesn't hamper it at close range. I mean, it's still just as capable at close range, if not more, with that high fire rate. The only thing you have to keep in mind is you want to keep your ice cool in it so that you can just conserve ammo forever, but even if you don't, you can carry like 6 ice packs with this, or I think it's 6 or 5, plus the one in it, so that's realistically enough ammo to last you most entire missions, because the ammo consumption is so great with this. Now, the biggest highlight is its long range ability. It's going to outrange pretty much every other base game weapon, and to get the most out of this, the one tip I would give you is it is a heat weapon, so go to an icy planet and just stick at range and pick them off before they come in, because you're going to be able to cool down the weapon just off of doing short burst and letting it cool. So really good weapon. I was taking the SMG Defender into pretty much every game, but I think the Sickle's got it outclassed, and I've been taking it into all matches where I'm looking for something that can cover the long and the close range. This is really like one of the best all-around weapons in the game, I think. Especially if you're looking for that full auto feel. I know a lot of people are using shotguns, but if you're looking for the full auto weapon, this one's got you covered at all ranges and has great ammo consumption. Not a lot of downsides. Tip would definitely be take it on the ice planets. Coming from the second page, we have the SG8 Punisher Plasma variant. This is the plasma version of the SG8 Punisher that you get near the beginning. And looking at it, you can see it has 100 damage compared to the big 405 from the first one, and only 8 capacity, which is half of what the original Punisher has. So the thing about this one is it doesn't shoot shotgun shells, it shoots the plasma charge, and it has a lot of drop, has a big lob, not a lot of force behind the charge like the grenade launcher. So, but it's kind of similar to the grenade launcher in that you're just sending out these little explosive rounds. But they have a lot of drop, they don't do an absurd amount of damage, they don't have really any armor pin for the most part, it's just a little explosive round. It has a decent radius, so it will take out all the small bugs within a couple meters of it, maybe 5 meters of it, no problem. And it will take out bots if you landed at their feet or near their feet and whatnot. But usable as a primary, not really. It's too easy to blow yourself up with, one, and it doesn't have that like elite fire rate that the actual grenade launcher has. So that's two big downsides there, but also the ammo capacity is just brutal. I mean, only being able to carry in, I guess, 16 rounds-ish is just very difficult to use. It's hard to recommend, and I would say it's near unusable as your primary. Now, what you could do, of course, and the tip that I would give for it is you would bring this as kind of your primary, but you're going to use it as a tertiary. And you would bring a machine gun, drop in a machine gun with it, or drop in the arc thrower, or something like that, or the Stewart even if you like that, and use that as your primary, and then switch to this for taking out groups or sending in grenades or stuff like that. Problem with that is it's just nowhere near as good as the grenade launcher is, and it's just not worth taking in, really, in my opinion. I had too many mishaps with it, and it's too difficult to use, and going the distance with it, it's just not going to have the ammo capacity. So I would say probably skip this one in the pass unless you're just buying it to progress to the next page, because I really couldn't get enough use out of this one to justify it. I tried. It looks cool for sure, but the shots just have too much drop on them and not a ridiculous amount of damage or armor pin or anything to go with it. So could use, the tip would be, of course, use as a tertiary and drop in an extra weapon to carry around with you, but you know, do you really want to give up a stratagem slot when you could just take a better primary? You know, so, but that's our number 2 one here on from the second page. And finally, our third new primary that we got from this pass. Coming on the third page, it is the AR12 Blitzer shotgun. Now this is a different primary than we've had yet in this game. Doesn't match the Punisher. You know, it's not a different variant. But it is very interesting because it's the only primary that shoots lightning charges right now. Looking at it on paper, 250 damage, infinite ammo. You never have to reload or even think about your ammo or your cooldown or anything like that. You know, 60 recoil is reasonable, and then the 30 fire rate is extremely slow. You definitely notice that it takes a while to rack the new rounds into this. But nice. A very effective shotgun. It kind of surprised me how effective it is. I was thinking maybe it would be too slow to really get the use out of, or the range would be too short to really use. But it actually is impressive. It has more range than you would think, for sure. And even though it does fire slow like that, you can just keep racking. You never have to worry about feeding any more rounds in. So, you know, the fire rate, the long-term fire rate versus something that has to reload is, you know, doesn't hurt it too bad. Now, one thing I would say about this is it can arc to your teammates, but the actual arcs, when it shoots to a second or third target, don't do nearly as much damage as the target that gets directly hit by it. Which you'll see, like the bots, you know, sometimes it'll take one shot per bot pretty much. Even though you see the arcs go into the other ones, they're not doing enough damage, you know, unless they get arced to a couple times. So not like a crazy, you know, crowd clear. It is better at crowd clearing because it does have those arcs versus if it didn't at all, but mainly just one-shotting targets with it is the big thing. 250 damage per shot is really nice. It'll take down all the small guys at once. And it doesn't have any armor pin, but some of the armor targets are still vulnerable to it, especially if you can get around their armor or shoot a weak spot. This will arc straight to them. Biggest tip I can give you with this one is understand the range is longer than it looks when you're firing it, because it does obstruct your screen pretty well. But also, if you aim at the heads, or if you aim even slightly above the heads of targets, it's more likely to arc into them. If you're trying to aim middle of the body, a lot of times the arc just connects to the ground in front of them, or shortcuts to the ground in front of them instead of actually arcing into them. So I would aim high with this, but it's very effective. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I've been taking it into a lot of missions. You really don't need to bring much more with you most of the time because it's got unlimited ammo, so you're never concerned about picking up ammo. And it's just a great overall shotgun. Probably the best of these three weapons, which makes sense why they put it on the third page of the pass. But an interesting weapon. If you're a fan at all of the tertiary arc thrower, this one is just kind of a more usable version. More mobility, less charge up. You know, that's probably the big thing, is you pull the trigger, it instantly fires that shot. So huge advantage there over the arc thrower, and just an overall great weapon. Alrighty folks, so that is our initial impressions and some tips for all three of the new primaries in the new Warbond Premium Pass, the Cutting Edge Premium Warbond. Going in to look at here on page 1, the LAS-16 Sickle, an incredible fully automatic weapon for all ranges. Outclasses, I would say, either of the base Warbond ARs, and the low recoil just makes it so usable at range, and the ammo consumption is incredible with the addition of getting to carry in a bunch of ice packs with it. So just a great weapon, incredible at range. You know, it's probably going to outrange most of the base game assault rifles for sure. Going on to the second page here, we have the Punisher Plasma. Really can't recommend this one. It's just really hard to use. You know, the only time I would say you could get some good use out of it is if you're taking in a tertiary MG or something, or an arc thrower that you're going to be using most of the time, and then you're just switching to this for crowds or for certain niche situations. But even then, the range is so limiting. You know, the ability to kill yourself is so easy, and you know, I just can't really recommend it. The ammo consumption is horrible on it too, and you don't get to carry very much. So can't recommend this one. You're probably going to want to grab it just to get onto the page 3 pass, unless you want to come around here and grab some of this other stuff, and which you may end up wanting to do. I didn't grab the stun grenade because that one didn't seem very interesting. So you'll probably end up grabbing it if you get the pass, but I can't really recommend using it too much. If anyone of you guys have got better use out of it, let me know, because backed out of there. Let me know, because I just, you know, it seems just too hard to use and too little ammo. But coming down here to page 3, the AR12 Blitzer is probably the best weapon out of this pass. The fact that you can just keep firing and never have to think about ammo is a huge plus. I mean, not only does it not consume it like the ice one if you let it cool down, like the heat weapons, but you just don't even have to think about it. You never have to feed more shells into it or anything. So highly recommend this. Enough damage per shot to one-shot all the small guys if you land the shot. Just aim high with it and let those arcs do their thing. Highly recommend it. You know, it is pretty far down here in the pass, and it is 80 medals, so even by the time you get to page 3, you're going to need 80 more medals to grab it. But save them up and pick up this weapon. It's got deceptively long range and can really carry you against a big crowd if you just keep backpedaling and just keep letting them fly. You'll have no problem, because you'll never have to stop for that reload. So all three of these primaries, I think they did a good job with. They gave us some nice diversity here, and they gave us some big improvements over the base game weapons in certain aspects. But the armors, you know, they all have the same ability in this pass with the 95% resistance to arc damage. That's not really a big draw to these armors. You know, the helmets are cool just because they're for looks. And, you know, you get some other emotes, and you're going to get some super credits back for grabbing the pass. You know, 300 super credits back. So a good pass. I think they did a great job here with the second pass. I never picked up the Steeled Veterans pass because it didn't look too interesting, but I think this one definitely gives us a little bit of meta push, and I would recommend it overall as a pass. All three of these primaries you can get some use out of. It's just going to be pretty hard to make the Plasma Punisher work. The other two are quite elite, and I think, you know, potentially if they introduce more enemies in the future or more lightning damage in the future from like environmental effects, then these armors with the arc resistance could be more valuable. Right now they would only be valuable if you were using like a, you know, a Tesla tower or something, which you really shouldn't be using. So go out there, try out these 3 weapons for yourself. Let me know if you've got better use out of them than I did, and which one is your favorite. I would say the Blitzer probably is my favorite, but this Sickle that I've got on is just the most versatile, so it's probably the one you're going to get the most use out of total. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this video helps you out deciding if you want to grab the new Warbond and which weapons in the new Warbond you want to rush towards. So keep diving. Thanks for watching.